Well, today is the official runoff election for Georgia's Senate seat between incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican challenger Herschel Walker. While the outcome is expected to be close, Warnock is slightly favored, especially after edging ahead in the first round of voting in November.
However, Republicans are still hopeful for a Walker win, including former President Trump, who held a rally via telephone on Monday evening. Supporters were able to dial into the conference call and hear Trump speak. Joining us now to discuss is former special assistant to President Biden and former press secretary to First Lady Jill Biden, Michael LaRosa, and head of A Fresh Perspective and contributor to Red State and Liberty Nation, Jeff Charles. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for having us on.
I will start with you.
Sure.
This is close. Raphael Warnock is pulling ahead. What are the numbers looking like right now specifically?
Yeah, it looks like it's somewhere between like a 2 and 4 point race according to polling, and who knows what that actually means for a special or for a runoff election. I always think of these as special. So they're very hard to predict.
Why is that? Is that because?
I think it's because the turnouts are always so different, and turnouts are always so hard to predict because usually after Election Day, voting ends. So there's voter fatigue. But in this case, I read that there's about 80,000 new voters who did not vote in the November election. I think that probably gives Warnock a slight edge because of who and where they are coming from.
I'm going to be even bolder. I can't help myself. I'm going to predict Warnock will absolutely win. It's over. It's done. Jeff, help me out here. The demoralization, I think, on the conservative side, it's palpable. I can feel it. And also, this doesn't matter because they already blew their opportunity to take the Senate. So you have that. I just can't imagine, people being more invigorated to go out and drag Walker over the edge this time than last time. But am I wrong? What am I missing?
No, unfortunately, Robbie, I think you're absolutely right. That's exactly what I've been seeing too. I think that there is a very distinct lack of enthusiasm for Herschel Walker, just like there kind of was for Dr. Oz as well. But the difference is that the Democrats already have the Senate. And Walker is not a good candidate. You can't go out there and say that you're a werewolf and then expect people to vote for you, as it turns out. So, yeah, I do believe that Warnock's going to win. I think Walker still has a chance, but it's not a very good one.
Yeah, I mean, not just saying that he's a werewolf, but on Sunday, Herschel Walker's ex-girlfriend, Cheryl Parsa, detailed the alleged abuse she faced from him in their 5-year relationship, including pinning her against a wall and choking her following finding him with another woman. Apparently, he attempted to punch her, but missed and hit the wall. I mean, it's these allegations. It's the comments from his son that had distanced himself from him earlier on. Obviously, there was the whole deal with paying for an abortion, despite coming out as an anti-choice candidate. Yes, it was Christian Walker, his son, that accused him of abusing his family. I mean, all of these things we can say militate against him, but of course, a lot of this was out in the ether before the first round of election, and it was so much closer than many people thought it should have been at the time. Does that concern you at all, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that came out, I mean, it was kind of baked into the cake, right? So while a lot of these were quote, new revelations, we already knew who Herschel Walker was in his past. So I wasn't surprised that people still kind of turned out for him, but I do think it had somewhat of an impact. But at the same time, the alternative, at least for people on the right, is somebody who's going to be very much pro-abortion, very much with a progressive agenda. But I mean, I do think that in this runoff, I think people are just throwing their hands up like, okay, it's going to go the way it's going to go, and maybe we'll do better next time.
What are Democrats saying to kind of, seal the deal? What is the message for getting Warnock over the finishing line?
Mm-hmm. Well, from the campaign events Warnock was doing over the weekend, he's talking about the character, what it takes to be a senator and represent the state of Georgia, and he's someone who believes that his opponent is extremely flawed as a character. Pretty much going back to what you were talking about. And I think, it was interesting. The president did not come and campaign for Senator Warnock, and Donald Trump did not campaign, at least in person, with Herschel Walker.
Not in several months, yeah.
Although there have been a number of Republicans who've been doing these, Republican leadership, who have been doing these TV appearances with Herschel Walker, kind of sitting next to him in a way that almost feels like a kind of ventriloquism, because he doesn't
His new
seem
best
to
friend,
be
Lindsey
able to-
Graham.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Lindsey Graham a
I
number
do
of
think
times.
it's important for them to try to get to 50, to keep the committees even in terms of assignments, to keep an even number of members on the committee. This way they can block more of the president's judges and can, hold up a lot of administration activity with 50 rather than 49.
Jeff, if Herschel Walker loses, does he have a future in conservative politics or conservative media or something like that? I say that as someone who would think that generally people who are losing these elections would not then be kind of embraced as like important conservative spokespeople. But I see Carrie Lake still doing, who is not going to be Arizona's next governor. She's going to be headlining a Turning Point conference, or at least participating in it. Maybe not headlining it. Et cetera. The kind of staying power of personalities who have not been proven to be winners on the Republican side is remarkable. Although then, I tweeted this and then people put, well, what about Stacey Abrams? What about Beto O'Rourke, et cetera? So there's plenty of examples on both sides. But, what do you think about Herschel Walker's future prospects?
The thing about Carrie Lake is that she was able to endear herself to the base. So even if she didn't win, she was still going to have a spot. Herschel Walker, kind of the same thing. They liked him before. And in general, before he ran, he was pretty popular in Georgia because of his NFL career. I think after this, I don't know if he'll have the level of influence that a Carrie Lake does. I don't think he'll run for another office again. Or if he does, he won't enjoy the same level of support because honestly, he was a bad candidate, and people do believe that he was better on the sidelines doing other stuff, hyping other people up. So I think he'll still play a role, but I don't think it's going to be as prominent as it was now.
Yeah, Jeff, it's interesting because it's hard for someone like myself who is not necessarily a football fan to understand how he's perceived and how he's managed to get this far even. But I did notice that in some of the Warnock ads, he didn't come at Herschel Walker so directly. He acknowledged his value as a football player and his role in the state and in people's positive memories, and simply said he's better in that role than he is in Congress. And I do think that is a distinction between him and some folks like Carrie Lake, who has a longer career in politics as a newscaster talking about these sorts of issues, and who frankly is just infinitely more plausible as a candidate. I'm thinking back to Dave Chappelle's character. Yeah, I'm trying to be polite here, but Dave Chappelle in some ways said it best when what did he say? I'm not endorsing this, but Dave Chappelle described him on SNL as observably stupid. The man does not seem to know what he's talking about. Let's just put it that way. And so, these
he could fit right in.
Donald Trump characters seem like Mensa candidates compared to Herschel Walker. So what do you make of this? At the end of the day, do you think this is actually going to negatively affect the credibility of Republicans for putting forward characters like this, or is it just on to the next?
Oh, it already has. Some of these people that Trump backed that got the nomination, they ended up not doing well. And it goes back to sort of what Mitch McConnell said months ago, that we have a candidate quality problem. And I think Republicans are going to have to make a choice, a strategic choice in how they vote from now on, because if they keep following Donald Trump, the guy has just a terrible track record in Georgia alone. Everybody he backs loses. He lost Georgia. The Republicans have lost the 2018 cycle, the 2017 cycle, 19, 20. How many times do they have to follow Donald Trump down a losing path?
It's amazing to lose 3 Senate seats in one state in 2 years.
Yes, I know. So he's also the first president to lose Georgia since 1992.
So is this, okay, but there have been so many moments in time throughout the last 6 years where the intellectual class, the elites, the media, various political figures say, this is a bridge too far, this thing that Trump has done. That was true of the Access Hollywood tape. That was true of denying that he won the election. That was true of January 6th. So many times, but it has not. Maybe all of those things diminished him some standing with some group, but did not result in the end of his political career.
Right.
So is this time different?
No, it's not.
So he's still going to be around.
I guarantee it.
Yeah. What do you think, Jeff?
Oh yeah. There's a reason I've been calling him Teflon Don. He gets away with a lot. Now there could be something that comes up in the future that takes him out, but for right now, no. He's here to stay. I will say that there are more people on the right kind of giving him the side eye. There's a lot of talk of DeSantis over Trump. I think he has lost some influence, and I think this runoff, if a Walker does lose, it's going to be yet another blow because he put his endorsement on Herschel Walker against a lot of people's better judgment. He put his name on Dr. Oz, and the base didn't like it. So he has lost some influence, but he is still very much favored on the right. It's going to take more than this to knock him out of the political stage.
Jeff, Michael, thank you both so much for joining us today. And we'll have more Rising right after this.